The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Now in our 10th year of broadcasting, each week we continue to talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we're going to share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they are changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today, we're going to start off the show talking with some folks from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Maui. Come on up to the microphone. We've got with us Courtney Akawa, who is the Maui Regional Director, and Michelle Gonzalez-Smith, who's the Maui Mentor Center Coordinator. What a title. Michelle, glad to have you on and glad to meet you.
Glad to be here.
I'm fascinated. Courtney, now you've got the whole program over there. That's as Executive Director, that's your ballgame.
Yes.
And before the show started, we were talking a little bit about the Mentor Center because it's something I'm still not that familiar with. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't maybe just back up and do what we did about the last 5 minutes and tell everybody else about the Mentor Center and why and why it's so important to your program.
Sure.
Who wants to do it, Michelle or Courtney?
Yeah.
Come on, somebody
tell
talk.
the history of it.
Okay.
That's
How
good.
it started,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I'll pick up for where we are right now.
Okay,
There you
sounds
go.
great. Yeah, so our mentoring center was built in 98, 99, and it started to serve the Halemakana and Kahaleakeola communities there. We used to bus youth as well from elementary schools and bring in high school students to mentor them, and so everyone had a big brother or a big sister, and we were operating 5 days a week there. And then at some points the program dipped a little bit, and so we were just having a 1 day a week program there. And in 2014 our executive director JD Wyatt decided to get that going again, because we had a bunch of the youth in the community just hanging out in our office looking for something to do, and we're like, we need to get program going more often. So with the support of our partnership with the Big Brothers Big Sisters Foundation and Savers Stores, we were able to get that going 3 days a week. And so we have third through fifth grade elementary students from the Halemakana community to come there after school, and they're given all kinds of different opportunities with people that we partner with in the community to come in, teach them about all kinds of different things, and we take them out on field trips, and it's just this like constantly evolving program. And so we have a bunch of exciting things in store for next school year, and I'll kind of let Michelle take.
Michelle's face lights up as you talk about it, and
Get
having
really excited.
exciting things going on and
Yeah.
things to come. So we're talking about a program for ages, it's the third to fifth graders at this point.
Yes, third through fifth graders. This year we had all third graders and all fifth graders. We had no fourth graders, which was really interesting. But it was great because you could pair up, all right, third graders over here, fifth graders over here, and then the fifth graders kind of serve as mini mentors, right, to the
Right.
third graders, because they're like the seniors in
So
school.
were they in the program before, so they know what's going on?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of them have been with us even before the program started, right?
Okay.
From when they were little ones. So it's really exciting to see them grow. And we have also members from the National Honor Society from Maui High School that come in every Monday and Tuesday. give them an hour of tutoring time, which is really awesome. And we find that the kids really need it. The kids really look forward to it because it's not only they're being helped with academics, but they're being helped by high school students. And so that's exciting for them as well. So we'll start with a snack, and the tutors will talk story with them a little bit. Then they go inside and they do their homework for an hour. The tutors leave, and then they have another hour with me. And sometimes that will be, Maui Mediation Services will come and do a program with them, or the Pause for Reading program, where our students are able to read to the dogs, or we'll do some fractions bingo, so it's fun. So it's just really trying to enrich them in different ways. In January, we did a goals garden, so they could think about what their goals are for 2019, and we can now physically see them all around the Mentor Center, and we can continue to go back to them and see where we are with those goals. So that's what the Mentor Center serves as. It's almost a second home for a lot of these kids, and I just love them, and I love being there, and I'm really honored to just be a part of the program.
And it's written all over your face. I wish you all out there could see how excited she gets about this program.
Yeah, so...
Well, I think what I love about it is the exposure to life, to what's beyond where they are right now.
Yes.
Because for so many of these kids, without this, there is nothing beyond. Every day is the same.
No, I mean, we've been working really hard to get them not only to the Mentor Center, but outside of the Mentor Center with us. So we did a Bigs for a Day event with our Mentor Center children, and we took high school folks that were kind of maybe interested in being a Big next year. It's kind of trying to plant the seed for them to come back next year. And it was just a 1-day, 2-hour event, and we went up to the Visual Arts Center in Makawao. And I didn't even realize how some of these kids were like, where are we going? We're going to Makawao? Like, it was like I was taking them to Six Flags, It was, and then we roll up to the property, and the property is lush and gorgeous, and it's a mansion, right? And they were like, eyes huge, who lives here? What's going on? So, we took a tour, we did some print work, we did some watercoloring, and then this is all paired with their mentor. So like I said, it's just getting them outside and getting them to see, like, okay, like, we can go, let's do it. The world is your oyster. Let's figure out how we can make it happen. And so that's also one of my personal goals with the Mentor Center, is just to get them to be thinking in a bigger world view than just the four corners, or that one area that they're in. So, yeah, I love it.
Wow. Now, this group, we're talking 3rd and 5th graders. And so if you're a 5th grader, how many years could you possibly have been working with you?
Well, traditionally, so we have someone like one of our students who's in 5th grade right now, and he's been around Big Brothers Big Sisters since he was 3?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he's just been around,
He's just but he's been observing things.
He's been observing, taking it in.
And now he's a part of it.
Oh, yes, very much so. And so that's why we were inspired to create the Junior Mentors program for 6th through 8th graders, because someone like that is now in 5th grade, and traditionally our program ends, at 5th grade. And so we'll still see them in the neighborhood, but we wouldn't have a structured environment for them to come to like they've been used to for the last few years. So I just can't. I just can't. So I'm like, okay, Junior Mentor program would be amazing, because middle school is a very tough time. You're figuring out who you are, you're growing up, you're becoming a teenager, and there's a lot there. Also academically, it's not as easy as it used to be. It's bridging you and preparing you for high school, and how you do in middle school determines how well you do in high school and where you go on from there. So if we can help them in that time period, why not? So the idea is to have it just start every Thursday, and have college tutors, mentors, bigs come in, but it would be one dedicated person that they would work with throughout the entire school year, and that would be their person for school stuff, for playing some basketball or volleyball outside, for talking story, for playing Connect 4, just things like that. And if we do any field trips, they would be with us, and they would be experiencing that with the 6th through 8th graders. So yeah, that's 2019, 2020.
There we go. That's just around the corner.
Yeah,
That's
it
that would be
is.
starting in what, August, when school starts?
Yes,
September.
September.
Mhm.
Okay. all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
We
We've got
give
to
them
put
a
in a lot
month
of
to
work.
and give them time to settle in for the
Yeah.
school year too.
So, and that would be limited to 15 students as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For now, right?
Right.
So,
But that allows you to bring in some new people because you've got 15 third and fifth graders, so
yes.
they aren't all going to be moving up
right.
into this.
And we can bring back some kids that in the past were fifth graders that are now in seventh grade, right? But when
Right.
they aged out of the program, I still see them all the time. And now we can say, and I've been doing it, come back, we have a program for you. Come fill out an application, because now there's something for them. And you see them genuinely excited because they're too old for that group, for
Right,
the third through fifth
right.
graders. But they do still want to be in that space.
Right.
So that's what I'm excited about, because it's almost like a reunion is going to happen now.
Yeah, and you've started the progression with them, that there's so much more out there than they realize. You can't stop. You're right. You can't just stop it.
No.
You've
Yeah,
got to
we've
be
got
able
to keep
continue.
going.
Yeah. Now, are some of these also part of the regular program with the bigs and the littles?
None of mine this year
Okay.
have been, but that is an ongoing conversation, trying to identify some littles that might need even more support outside of the Mentor Center, and that could benefit from a big sister, an adult big sister or big brother. So that's always on the table. It just involves more, details in terms
Right.
of parents jumping on board and being accessible to us, and that's so
gotcha.
the Mentor Center is a happy medium and a good way to open the door to that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of our youth at the Mentor Center, English is their second language. So doing the enrollment, that takes a lot more work on the parent side. That's where the challenge is.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, okay. But once they do sign up now, just for our listeners' sake, big brothers, big sisters, that can be an ongoing program. I mean, there's no real age requirement or stop, because I think I've heard stories about how some just continue on even after the actual program
Right.
is done for them. They've got such a relationship built
Right.
that they continue as best friends or
Right.
whatever.
I mean, we were in Kiki Fest the other Saturday, and we had a woman come up to us and tell us, "I was a little sister. I just reunited with my big sister, right? Like a few months ago or so," and just so appreciative of the program itself and the fact that, I mean, she's a grown woman now, and she just reunited with her big sister. So, like you said, it can be a lifelong relationship, and her actual younger sister was also part of the program as well, and they can recount stories and name names and experiences they had with them. So it really is something that can affect your life, and you have no idea. Just being there for someone can make such an effect on these children's lives that then become adults, right? And then
Right.
they hopefully pay it forward. And that's another idea with the continuing the program into 6th through 8th grade, is that you're able to pay it forward once you become a high school student, and that understanding of, like, these kids need you now. We did all this for you. Now you got to sow back,
Right.
or we hope you would sow back into them. So
Wow, I mean, it's just great. I'm just excited about your being able to expand it to that next age group. Are you looking for bigs?
Always.
That was in unison, folks.
Yeah.
And big. When we refer to bigs and littles, maybe we better give just a quick overview of who's a big and who's a little.
Yeah, so our littles range from age 6 to 18 years old. And then we have, this is one program we were highlighting today, but in our other two programs, we have mentors that are 18 and older, and then mentors that are high school age, so 14 to 18. So we're looking for all of those. The high school students are primarily from Maui High, Baldwin, St. Anthony, and King K. Kaulike, and Lahaina Luna as well. And then our adults were across the island, so always looking for males.
We need
Really?
males.
Tons of little
Yes.
brothers, and a lot of big sisters. So we're a little
Interesting.
lopsided there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I was interested in becoming a big sister, what do I have to bring to that position?
We just ask for a 1-year commitment, and then hopefully you'll just fall in love with that little of yours and continue longer with us. But there's an application and a pretty extensive interview that you'll go through with our case manager, just to kind of get to know you, what you're looking for in a little, and then we use all that information to make the best match possible for you.
Right,
And
because
is
you're
it-
not just paired with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, it has to work.
Is it going to cost me a lot to do this?
No, we encourage low-cost activities, going to the park, taking a walk at the beach, talking story, playing board games you might have around the house, cards, things like that. But it's really just to be a consistent person in this child's life, someone that they can lean on for support, advice, and encouragement.
Oh, okay. So we're not looking for, it's not a high ticket thing where you got to take them to dinner or go to the movies or
Not at all.
go to the ball game or any of those kinds of
No.
things. It's just whatever fits within your
Yeah.
in your budget.
And you're supported by Big Brothers Big Sisters, so you have a case manager who's going to be checking in with you. Also, if there are any events around town that are happening, they'll be sending them your way and saying, hey, this might be a nice event for you if you can make it, you and your little sister, things like that. So it's not just you're on your own and you have to be creative. You're getting guided, and you have a person that is there for you to call, right? And
Right.
to get some, okay, how do I do this? We've been there, and so our case managers are always ready and available to help
Interesting.
guide you.
Interesting. So it's the person that we're looking for. I'm getting the high sign, and we need to take a break.
All right.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Oh, you want me to come back on? I'm thinking about all the things they've told me today, and it's somewhat overwhelming because, I guess most of us don't realize that there are programs like these out there.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, from what I'm hearing from you folks, you've gotten the word out to the people who need you, because your programs are full. You've got wait lists. How could you ever take on all those wait lists and get them filled? I mean, get them matched up. What would it? It would just take people.
Yes.
That's the missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
So, what? Why would I want to do that? What would hit me or strike me that says, call them and find out more about it?
I just think if there's anybody that has ever invested in you in any way throughout your life, and if you can track that to where you are today and how that made a difference, and how you can maybe do that for someone else. That's what I always go back to, because I had a string of mentors, even into my adult years, that helped guide me, that helped, I think you should go here. Things that my parents were awesome people, but in certain areas I needed to go somewhere else for career advice,
Right.
or for just where I am in life advice. And to have that community around you outside of folks that you've been hearing day in and day out telling you the same thing, that's really important. So if that's ever happened for you, just know that you could be that person for someone else. And I think we forget that when we're in the hustle and bustle of our lives and what we need. But if you give to someone else, it makes just a huge difference in your life as well.
Right. Interesting. That's a very good take on it. I like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are turned away because they think it's a huge time commitment, and everyone's really busy, or they're taking care of their own kids or nieces and nephews, and so really we don't ask for a whole lot of time, just twice a month, in our community-based program, and so and it's not a whole day. That you need a plan for activities. It's just a couple of hours, and yeah, being on call in case there's something going on.
Right.
But it's not gonna take every day after work. You have to go out with this child.
Right. Interesting. That puts a whole different spin on it. Because I know that some people that have talked about this, have thrown out the idea that they have to do things with them, and it's like, have to?
Yeah.
You're in there with the wrong approach.
Right. Right.
These are things you want to do with them because
Right.
that's why you're there.
Right.
You want to share, as you said, Michelle. You want to share your experiences and what's out there and what's possible for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love your story about going up to the Visual Arts Center.
Oh.
That's just, that's just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and it's something that simple.
Yeah.
It's an event that's happening up in Kula, and it's or a farmer's market on a Saturday. And it's like, hey, you want to go here? Okay, you pick some avocados from the side of the road. You go walk around. You get a few strawberries, and then you take them back home. But that time makes such a difference. They'll talk about that for a month, and believe me, because I'm the one in the mentor center with them, they'll talk about it forever. And they'll think back to, oh, remember when we did this? So it's not having to take them to the trampoline park every
right.
week for 3 hours. It's something very simple, and it makes
Basic.
a big difference.
I like to comment that, again, on the break, you were talking about the situation with their home lives,
Mm-hmm.
that, if there's a mom and dad in the family unit, perhaps one's working daytime, one's working nighttime, and it's just kind of a shift change. But who is responsible in this whole arena for making sure that homework does get done,
Mm-hmm.
or that any studies beyond today's homework happen?
Right.
Who has the energy
Right.
to read a story to somebody?
Right. Or to get
in
a
the
story
evening.
read to them, or to even think to ask that.
Yeah.
And to have a calendar and know that in 2 weeks they're going on this trip, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. Those are the things that make the difference, and that's what a mentor can do in any one of our programs.
Yeah. Wow. And because the people in your program come from all walks of life, there's so many opportunities, like even what they're going to do when they grow up.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about 3rd and 5th graders. That's pretty young, but once you get into the next level, they are starting to think about their
Yeah.
futures.
And it's not that young, because we have physical therapists coming next month to come do a presentation to the 3rd and 5th graders, because I want to plant those seeds now, because they are thinking about it. I have them journal about these things, and and some of them are like, I want to work at Walmart, and I'm like, oh, that's great. For a high, that's great. That's a great start. What else would you like to let's keep expanding on that. But we
Right.
have to bring these people in so that they can say, I want to be a physical therapist. What's a physical therapist? What do they do? And so and they'll bring it to their level, third
Right.
through 5th. And then maybe next year we'll do physical therapy, but with the 6th through 8th graders, and whatever other organizations. We've had farmers come in and work with the kids, and the kids are like, this is my favorite field trip ever. And I did not expect that, but their hands in the soil and seeing how things grow, they lit up. And I was really taken aback by that. It's right in their backyard, right at Go Farm at the university.
Right.
That's amazing. And then they ended up in the newspaper. And that was like the icing on the cake for them, you know? Now it's solid for them. Like, this is a point in time I could look back to. So I just think that, you know, it's just good.
Yeah, giving them the opportunity to just expand their horizons and know that there can be other things out there for them.
Yeah.
Wow. Last thoughts and comments on what Big Brothers Big Sisters can do for, say, your child, if somebody's listening and has maybe heard about you but not really thought about getting their kids enrolled, or thinking that it's not for their children. What would you say?
I think it's for every child.
Yeah.
I think even whether it's a two-parent household or not, whether they have siblings or not, every child is their own individual and they have their own special personality and needs. And the more people that you can have come help you with that, the richer the experience that their childhood will be, right? And so, from a mentoring perspective, from the Big's perspective, again, you give into these children and without expecting anything, but you end up with so much. You know, you end up with just a better character, a better way of dealing with things. And so if you're even somewhat interested, I would say reach out to us, whether you are a big or a little or a parent of a little. Even if you're a parent and you think this would be something really great, you know, I just think that you should definitely reach out to us and just get some more information. Come by, see the Mentor Center, meet Courtney and just see what we do, because we have a lot of information and we need your help.
Right.
You know.
What if you're thinking about somebody in your family who you think maybe their children should take a look at this, but their mom and dad don't seem interested? What's kind of a catch thing that you could say or do that might spark interest in someone who just thinks maybe it'd be a bother for them to make sure the kids are over there for the programs?
Well, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot on the parents, and they just need to fill out an application and sit down with us and tell us about their child, and we take it from there, you know.
Right.
So they'll have to coordinate with the volunteer for pickup and drop-off times, but if they, you know, want the best for their child, I think coming to us is a great opportunity, and hopefully something that will be kind of this lifelong friend for this child.
Right.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Michelle, great program, and I wish you well in the new year with the additional. She's all excited. I really wish you could see her. She is ready to go. And Courtney, thank you for joining us too today, and keep up the good work with the
Thank
bigs
you.
and the littles of the Big Brothers Big Sisters program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have a phone number for who they should call for some more information?
Sure, they can call me at 808-442-7891.
7891, the magic number. Very good. Thank you both.
All right,
you.
thank
Okay,
you.
have a good weekend.
Too.
And we will shift gears now, and we're going to talk about paddle imua.
Paddle-Imua.
Gosh, I think I've heard of that before.
I hope so. It's our 8th year now.
Is it really 8 years?
8 years, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that amazing? The 8th annual Paddle-Imua.
You know, before we get into paddle imua, I'm going to ask you a quick question about
Sure.
the Color Festival.
Oh, okay. This
Last
past,
time you were on, we
Saturday.
talked about that coming up, and it was this last Saturday.
Yeah.
Everybody walk out of there different colors.
Everybody walked out of there looking like the inside of a bag of Skittles. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, it was pretty epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting music, exciting fun, just an exciting crowd. And, you know, just being there watching children and parents and teenagers and, you know, all kinds of individuals coming together and celebrating diversity and inclusion. And, you know, it was a 6-hour event. And the thing I noted to many people, I said, in the 6 hours of watching these children run around and play and throwing color at each other, there was not one child ever on a device. And that in
Oh.
itself, you know, and parents engaged with kids and running around. And, you know, like I watched this one about 4 or 5-year-old toddler walk up to a complete stranger, you know, and just grab a big bag of blue powder and then just throw it in his face, you know. And the expression on the adult's face was like, "This is incredible, thank you, that was beautiful," and everything. I thought, if that child walked up to that guy in the Target and did that, he'd turn to the parent immediately and say, "What are you doing with your child here?" Sort of thing. But it's a place where you embrace people's ability to have fun and celebrate a moment like that, and so that's what that's about for sure. It was so exciting.
Yeah, and you had a beautiful day for it.
Yes, we had beautiful weather. It was absolutely perfect. Yeah.
And did you get your numbers you were looking for?
Yeah, I mean, when you plan an event like that, it's an outdoor music festival. I mean, we could accommodate another 1,000 people if we want to, and hopefully as this event grows and it becomes eventually the 8th annual something, then every year we'll see that number grow and grow. My goal is that this becomes an all-day festival into the nighttime festival and maybe in a multiple day festival with multiple stages, so there's always going to be room to grow. And as far as I'm concerned, until everyone is fully embracing diversity and inclusion and acceptance and and community, then there's always going to be a need for us to keep accelerating this in our community. So that's what it's all about.
Now, is this the second or the third one?
That was the second one.
It's just the second one. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's already on the calendar for next year.
It will be, yes, it absolutely will be. I mean, it's good. We're at the second one. We're already seeing numbers of over 1,500 people. So we only have room to grow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad. I always wonder about an event like that because, like you say, going up to somebody and throwing color at them is like, whoa, what did you do?
As I've said about every event we ever do, Susie, if you could just come to one, you'd have a very different perspective.
That's true. That's true. We're going to do that. Is that number 4 on our list now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary and I have this growing list of things that, after so many times being told about it and sounding like a heck of a fun time.
Yeah, these are not the things that should end up on a bucket list. They should just be things you do on your
You just do
weekend.
them, yes. Right. You got it. Okay, so now we're, as we continue with our events, let's see, was Color Festival the second one because you had your big fundraiser, and then the Color Festival,
Sure.
and then Patalimua is the third one leading into Camp.
That's right. Well, and Patalimua is a fundraiser for Camp Imua, and I brought Raynell Lucina here with me, who is our director of Camp Imua programs. And Camp Imua, is a vital program that's been happening here in Maui County for 43 years now. And Patalimua, though, started 8 years ago, and it was exclusively to create an opportunity not only to raise funds for Camp Imua, but we were talking about mentorship. We're raising sort of mentorship and awareness for the special needs children that participate in Camp Imua each year. These are water athletes, and of course on Maui we have an abundance of water athletes, people that love being out in the ocean, stand-up paddling, surfing, all the OCs, 1s, 2, and 6s. Now we have hydrofoil and prone boards and sail boards. And, it's interesting that Patalimua is one of the only multidisciplinary racing events on the ocean here in Hawaii. And when it wasn't intentional, but now that I think about it, I'm so glad that we went this route of a multidisciplinary race because it sort of represents what inclusion is, right? It's inclusive of all the disciplines on the water. Anyone can bring any of their vessels out and participate in Patalimua, and that's kind of what Camp Imua is about too. It's this, it's diversity, it's inclusion, and it gets these water athletes an opportunity to physically see, meet, greet, and talk to the children with special needs that come to Camp Imua each year, and just having that opportunity to have people that hopefully don't take for granted the fact that they can physically get out on the water and be there and enjoy that kind of extreme sport living, to get to meet a child with cerebral palsy, a child with Down syndrome, a child who can't get out on the water, lives on this island but doesn't have the opportunity to experience the ocean in the same way. That's a powerful connection that can happen, and these children look to these people on the water as as heroes. They're athletes, they're experiencing a side of life that they don't get to share.
And they're right there with them at
And
the
they're right there
at the
with
end of
them.
the race.
Yeah.
The children are there.
You cross that finish line at the harbor and you come running up on the sand and through it's called a chute, and the first person to greet you is one of our beautiful camper children with their lei, and after a 10.5 mile grueling downwinder, it completely just alters your perspective in that moment, and you realize that's what this race is all about. That's why we did this.
Right. Wonderful. Oh, Gary's at the switchboard again. He says it's time.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Oh, I keep doing that today. What's the deal?
You're missing your cues.
Are you doing shorter bumpers music times? No? Okay.
Just good conversation during the breaks.
There we go. I guess that's it. Yeah. Dean is showing me the some photos of these from last year's.
This is Stand Up Paddle magazine, and of course it's on a radio show. It's not really good to talk about visual things that you're looking at. But yeah, these were just some pictures from last year's Paddle Mua. For all the paddlers out there, Stand Up Paddle magazine, of course, is one of the epic magazines that's out there. And we have this beautiful 5-page spread covering all the different aspects of Paddle Mua and talking about Camp Mua, which is great that we're sharing a program like Camp Mua with the world, because, of course, this is an international trade magazine where it's picked up around the world. And, Paddle Mua is a paddle league event now. So those who are pros out there on the water, they're out there getting points, just by participating in Paddle Mua.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah. And I can see all your different disciplines here with you were talking about OCs earlier, and for those who don't know what they are, outrigger canoes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's one man's, two man's, six-man canoes.
And double
hulls, yeah, the whole works, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
And then the hydrofoils came in, about 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think we had our first person compete on a hydrofoil was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And he was 11 years old. And I'll point out he was like the first person to come around the harbor.
Really?
Yeah. So that was pretty exciting.
Did he participate again last year?
Yeah, I think he did, but I don't think he foiled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the thing about, I don't know a lot about foiling, so I'm not going to get into it, but it is very specific to the conditions.
Ah, okay.
And where you are and your ability, and also, the water and stuff like that. So some people might sign up with the idea that they're going to bring a foil. It's much more common now, and it's part of the race. But if the conditions aren't right, then they'll just revert to, I'm going to just get on my stand-up, or I'll sail or something else. So that's the great thing about the race.
Interesting, right. Mm-hmm. So now does each participant go out and raise donations, funds, sponsors, whatever?
Yeah, I'll let Raynell talk about that.
That's how you make the money.
Yeah.
That's how you make the money out of the race.
So when they register for the race, they are asked to sign up to fundraise as well. And so there's an online platform that they can use and send it out on social media to all their supporters, their family and friends, and ask them to also help them support Camp Mua via Paddle Mua. And there's also the opportunity to be a virtual paddler. So if you're not on the water, you can put this on your bucket list and you can check it off right now. You don't actually have to get on the water. You can just go and sign up to be a virtual paddler and pay the registration fee and fundraise via social media for Camp Mua. via Padalimua.
Yeah, and you get all the swag as if you paddled in the race and you're a racer, because you don't get the swag unless you're a racer.
I
But if
see.
you're a virtual racer, you can still get the
Still
swag.
get it.
So
I see.
that's kind of fun. And the Padalimua swag is pretty schwanky.
Pretty swanky.
Yeah, schwanky.
What, such as?
Well, ocean events in general and sporting events, they typically have they typically have swag that's reflective of that sport,
Right.
And this is no different, So there's boat shirts and the event shirts and, the kinds of, clean canteen logoed cups and stuff like that. And because they're made exclusively for the event each year, you can only get them through participation.
I
They're not
see.
available outside of the event, and that's what makes them pretty exclusive. And Padalimua, we're really, we've had such great sponsors and people involved in supporting the event over 8 years that the swag and the things that are contributed to the event are like I said, it's pretty schwanky. Yeah, it's coveted.
It's
It's
coveted.
coveted. Yeah, people email us all the time
Right.
going, "How do I get that Padalimua stuff?" So good stuff.
So I can enter virtually.
Yeah,
Virtual.
you can.
Huh.
Like everything in the world, it's virtual now, right?
Yeah. Is this the first time you're doing the virtual, or did you do it last year?
We did
Last
it last year, yeah.
You had a few people that
Yeah.
got
Oh
in?
yeah.
But how do I come in first place if I'm virtual?
Well, you can't actually win the race,
Oh.
but you could come in first place as a fundraiser,
Oh,
and there are
okay.
prize incentives for that
I
along
see.
the way as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. And the fundraising isn't a mandatory part of
Right.
being a part of Padalimua. Definitely your registration helps as well, but it is an option. And some people get excited by doing that. They want,
Sure.
if you're doing a 5K or a 20, a marathon, some people like to go the extra mile, no pun intended,
Yeah.
right? And do more for the cause, and others are just in it to finish,
Right.
So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool. So, who are some of the names that you have in the race?
You want me to name
can
drop?
Can you?
Name drop of sponsors or people in the race?
Both.
Well, I saw this great picture of Sunny Henschel here, and I think I brought her one time when we did this
Yeah, I think you did.
show. She is now the world champion this year. She's
she
got the
is?
world champion title,
Wow.
and so yeah, she's been a part of Padalimua in each year's past. People like Jeremy Riggs and Cody Kerbach. I mean, it just the list goes on. Andrea Muller, who has been amazing.
Right.
She's taken first
She's
place.
been on the
and-
show, yeah.
Yeah. Michael, there's just so many. We're so blessed on Maui to have such great water athletes that live here, participate.
Right.
Devin Blish, who is on the committee, she's one of our top finishers as well. So it's an exciting race, and every discipline has people that excel at the top of their game in each discipline, So, like I said, and then there's just some people that do it because they want to be on the water with these athletes, these amazing
Right.
athletes. They're not necessarily going to be first, second, or third, but they're still in the race, and everyone does great. So, I mean, we talk about, there's 200 to 200 plus racers at the event, so there's a lot of people.
Interesting.
And then after the event, we have the Ohana Festival. So once they cross the finish line, they're invited to eat and hang out, and there's a raffle at the Ohana Festival, and our campers are there. And there's also a relay at the Ohana Festival. So our sponsors have a team of 4 people, and then we add 1 camper to each of those teams, and then they paddle out and they take a camper around a buoy, and the first team to get all 5 participants around the buoy and back to shore wins the relay.
Oh, cool.
That's an exciting way to interact with the campers.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, lots of interactive things at the Ohana Festival.
I would think one of the tricks to this whole thing is to find a weekend when most of these pros are available.
Well, really, the trick is to find a weekend and stick with it.
I see.
Because then, these athletes and a lot of the people that are involved in water sports in the community, they plan their year around some of these events. Like, this is the Maui to Molokai run. This
Right.
is this race over here. This is when Germany has their big race, and they're moving around the circuit like that. So you want to find a date, which we have. We're typically the first Saturday in May. And that way because people need to train, right?
Right.
Some people gear up for it, they train, they're practicing. And if you move your event around, that's not going to be helpful for
Gotcha.
people, right?
Yeah.
So we try and be consistent with where we are, and we've been fortunate to be pretty consistent over 8 years
Right.
with our date. you know. I mean, every year you kind of speculate with the weather and go, oh, I wonder if we were a couple of weeks later, if there'd be more this or more that. But I think it's really important that you're consistent with the timing of it.
And you said you're now part of the
Paddle League.
So that also is important.
Well, you know, for many years we weren't when we first started out. It wasn't that it was important, but it's a sign that the race has grown into getting international recognition, and that it's considered a valid race. It means we run our race well, that we have official start and timing procedures in place, and that the finishing is accurate for timing, because it recognizes that this isn't, you know, it's not muckety muck, right? Like, you're not just showing down at the beach, and, you know, that there's thought and care and expertise and professionalism put into how the race is run. And that's important. If you're a world champion, you know, paddler, you need to know that going into it. So it helps to draw. You know, people come to this race from all the different ocean sports communities around the world. So we're really fortunate to have that kind of exposure.
Have you ever been able to take part in a race?
You know, no, I haven't. And I would love to. I would love to get in a 6-man canoe and paddle. But when you're involved in coordinating it and putting on the event, it's really difficult, you know, because then it really does remove you from being able to help logistically. And, you know, as the executive director and as one of the organizers, it's more important that I'm there on the ground. And my biggest concern when we do these events, and even Camp Emu itself, is nobody gets hurt, right? Nobody gets left behind. Everybody goes in the water, everybody comes out of the water, right? And I just feel like it's part of my responsibility to make sure that safety is at the forefront of everything we do.
Do you go out the next day and do something in the ocean just to kind of wash it?
I almost try to get to the ocean, you know, at least twice throughout every single weekend, if not twice a week. Yeah, that's a huge part of my life, and taking my son to the water. So,
What's your specialty?
What's my specialty in the water? Staying afloat? No. No, I'm a 6-man paddler by heart. And then if I were to do something else after that, it would be longboard. You know, I'm still old-fashioned with a longboard. But now my son's getting into surfing, so he's liking it.
How old is he now?
He's going to be 8 in September.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So but you know, Camp Emu has thrived as a result of Paddle Emu and having the ocean sports community get involved and helping to support, and the community supporting an event like Paddle Emu. And that's what it was for. That was always the purpose, right? Camp Emu, although it's been a tradition for 43 years, it's also gotten more expensive over the time to manage camp, to implement camp, to have camp, you know, for people to participate in camp. So we have to increase the way we create revenues for those kinds of programs.
Right, because the camp is free to the...
Yeah, camp is free for the campers, and it's also free for the counselors, but we do ask them to fundraise. So when they sign up to be a counselor, they have to be 16 or older, and they also register for fundraising, much like the virtual paddler or the fundraising that goes on with Paddle. It's a platform where they can send it out to all their friends and family through social media.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, it's minimal. We're asking each counselor who's coming to camp to raise a minimum of $200. You know, they're there for an entire week with all of their meals, accommodation, and all the events that they participate in. And so it's a minimal amount, you know. So it's a doable amount, and if they each do that, then it really helps to supplement.
And we offer incentives for them as well. So if they reach their $200 goal, this year P.E. Holo is opening up a party for us for those who reach their goal on a special day. They're setting aside their staffing, their zip line, and we're going to go up there, and Flatbread's donating pizza for that day.
Wow.
So those who reach their goal are rewarded, as well as, you know, just being there and being a part of camp, which is a reward in and of itself.
You just keep adding things.
Well, you know.
I mean, it's like every year
Holo
there's something
actually
new.
reached out to us. They missed
cool.
us, because when we were going over to Camp Malahia, we would bring the campers all up to P.E. Holo for Zipline Day. And then last year, we moved camp over to Camp K&I.
K&I,
And it was just too long of a haul to bus everybody up there. we do bus everybody out to Hana Bay. So we still do a beach day with all the campers, and they do get to participate in ocean activities that day. But Pi'iholo said, where'd you guys go? Why didn't we get to be a part of Camp Imua? And so I said, well, we could do this with just the counselors. And they said, yeah, let's do that. Sounds great. We'd
be
love to
involved
help.
somehow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And a lot of your counselors come back year after year, right?
Yeah, I would say over half are returning. And then much like the conversation you were having earlier where the mentorship just starts to sort of self
Perpetuate?
sustain. Yeah.
Yeah.
The leadership that we are growing leaders by having an orientation day and sort of giving them the tools that they need to be a counselor. And then once they've had that experience for several years, they can come back as a leader. So we have 10 leaders who lead a team of 10 counselors, each with 5 campers. So that's how
Interesting.
the structure is at camp.
Ah, I see. Okay. As we hit the closing moments of the show, I can't believe these are the fastest 2.5 hours there are. The Patalimua is Maliko Gulch.
Starts off at Maliko. It's the Maliko Run, starting out at Maliko Gulch and ends at the Hawaiian Canoe Club.
Okay, and start
Saturday,
time?
May 4th. The start time of the race is 1 o'clock.
Okay.
A registration at Maliko Gulch opens at 10 a.m. in the morning. Of course, it is better if you pre-register, and so you can do that at patalimua.com and get and sign up to register so we know you're coming in advance. There is, of course, day of registration at Maliko Gulch. It's a little more expensive, but we get a good number of people that register day of, although it takes I think it takes more planning, so it's better if you register in advance at patalimua.com.
Gotcha. But if you wake up that morning and you just got to do it,
Yeah, then come on down
Get
to
down
Maliko
there.
Gulch and be on time, and we'll get you on the water for sure.
right? And then the Ohana Festival afterwards, that's open to the public, right?
Yeah, the public can come in and see the race finish and greet the racers as they're coming in and mix with our camper families. And it's always an exciting time down there. There's food and festivities. Old Lahaina Luau comes and performs. Food is provided by Aloha Mixed Plate. This year we have the U.S. Air Force Band of the Pacific that will also be down there
Whoa.
performing and welcoming in the paddlers as they come across the finish line.
How cool.
So all kinds of activities. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fun day at Hawaiian Canoe Club.
That's great. That's great. Any last thoughts from you?
We still have available positions for volunteers
Okay.
at Camp Imua. So if anybody has a high school aged volunteer that would like to come out and spend a week, it's life changing and it's a beautiful experience. And they can just go to imuafamilyservices.org/Camp Imua or just Google Camp Imua and they'll find our website and be able to sign up as a counselor.
Gotcha. Very good. We're talking about Saturday, May 4th for the race, and then the camp is in June, right?
Yeah, camp is June 8th through the 13th.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for joining us
Oh,
today.
you're welcome, Susie. Thank you for having us.
Always glad to hear what's. You know what intrigues me about your activities? Seriously, every year you add something.
That's true, and
He
I
doesn't
actually
just add one thing.
No, I don't just add one thing. And actually, I'm going to
Right,
talk to you
that's
after
true.
because I've got a new thing we're adding.
Okay, all right. Well, I got to close out the show, or we're going to be saying goodbye off the air. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Please give them a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Pacific Source has been our sponsor from day one, and we thank them for their ongoing support. And to you, our listeners, we thank you for the response our agencies get from you regarding the activities talked about on this program. Today we visited with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Maui and with Imua Family Services talking about Paddle Imua. If you heard anything that gets you interested in wanting to join them in their activities, please give their agency a call or check their websites. Mahalo for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week right here on Wednesday at noon on KAOI Radio, 1110 AM, 96.7 FM, 96.5 FM on the west side, when we'll be featuring representatives of 2 more member agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week, everybody. Aloha.